Jared Lorenzen, he's now focusing on a different goal, and that is getting healthy.
Some NFL players had the talent and the spotlight.
And Newton fires, and that's caught on the outside by Benjamin, who escapes.
But not all of them managed to keep their bodies in check.
To weigh 375 pounds, he out there looking like King Hippo.
From Karlos Williams, a blazing back whose weight began to derail a promising career, to Nate Newton, a legendary lineman who ballooned to over 400 pounds after dominating the trenches. These are the NFL players who let their physiques slip and paid the price. Jared Lorenzen. Jared Lorenzen wasn't just any quarterback. Nicknamed Hefty Lefty, he was a record-setting star at the University of Kentucky, throwing for over 10,000 yards and 78 touchdowns in college. At 285 pounds, he was already the heaviest quarterback in NFL history, but his talent couldn't be denied. Signed as an undrafted free agent by the New York Giants in 2004, Lorenzen served as Eli Manning's backup and even earned a Super Bowl XXIII ring. At his peak, he had fame, respect, and the kind of career every player dreams of, but off-field struggles and weight issues would quietly steal it all. Despite flashes of brilliance, Lorenzen saw little playing time in the NFL. He made just a handful of appearances, including a memorable quarterback sneak and a relief stint for the injured Manning. Yet his size, once part of his charm, became a limiting factor. Coaches worried about his conditioning, and every pound over 285 felt like a roadblock. By 2008, he was released by the Giants, briefly signed by the Colts, then out of the league entirely. Lorenzen's professional journey continued in the indoor leagues, where he alternated between coaching, managing, and playing. He became a minor celebrity, viral footage showing him sidestepping defenders despite a body that struggled to carry him. But even there, his health began to deteriorate. After breaking his tibia and suffering ankle injuries, Lorenzen's playing career ended for good. Off the field, Lorenzen's weight continued to climb. By 2017, he tipped the scales at over 500 pounds. That year, he launched the Jared Lorenzen Project, documenting his attempt to reclaim his health. Diet, yoga, and thyroid medication helped him shed over 100 pounds, but it was a slow and ongoing battle. Social media followers celebrated his progress, inspired by his determination, but the damage from years of neglect and injury had taken a permanent toll. Jared Lorenzen passed away on July 3, 2019, at just 38 years old, due to an acute infection complicated by heart and kidney problems, conditions worsened by his lifelong struggles with obesity. Moving on, we have a player who lost his NFL career after his physique declined. Jamarcus Russell. Jamarcus Russell entered the NFL with sky-high expectations. The first overall pick in the 2007 draft, the quarterback out of LSU had size, arm strength, and college accolades that made him look like a future superstar. At LSU, he dominated, winning the Manning Award and leading the Tigers to a Sugar Bowl victory. Standing 6'6" and armed with a cannon of an arm, Russell seemed unstoppable, but the NFL would prove unforgiving. Russell's tenure with the Oakland Raiders was short and disastrous. Contract holdouts delayed his rookie season, and when he finally took the field, inconsistency defined his play. He struggled with turnovers, finishing his first season with more interceptions than touchdowns and a passer rating under 66. Over 3 seasons, Russell never developed the work ethic or discipline expected of a #1 overall pick. Weight and conditioning became major issues. By 2010, reports described him as annually and incredibly overweight, with his weight climbing over 300 pounds, limiting his mobility and throwing mechanics. Coach Tom Cable eventually moved him down the depth chart, and in May 2010, Russell was released, his NFL dream effectively over before he turned 25. Russell went from a lean, strong quarterback at LSU to a player whose conditioning became a liability in the pros. Off-field distractions compounded the problem, including a 2010 arrest for codeine possession and later legal issues surrounding misappropriated donations at his high school. By the time he attempted a comeback in 2013, he had to completely rebuild his body. Starting around 315 pounds, Russell shed more than 50 pounds, reaching roughly 281 pounds with 15% body fat. Trainers described him as borderline skinny, and he looked more athletic than he had in years. Despite the transformation, the NFL remained skeptical. Teams were hesitant to give him a second chance, and Russell never returned to professional play. Today, Russell stays involved in football through coaching and personal development, but the narrative of what could have been follows him. Next up, we have a player whose weight gain and repeated injuries cost him his spot in the NFL. Kelvin Benjamin. Kelvin Benjamin entered the NFL with a rare combination of size and athleticism. The 6'5", 240-pound wide receiver out of Florida State had the frame and leaping ability that made scouts compare him to elite players like Plaxico Burress and Calvin Johnson. After a breakout sophomore season in college, highlighted by 1,011 receiving yards and 15 touchdowns, Benjamin declared for the 2014 NFL Draft and was selected 28th overall by the Carolina Panthers. Benjamin made an immediate impact as a rookie. He recorded 73 receptions for 1,008 yards and 9 touchdowns, showing off his ability to dominate defenders in the red zone and make spectacular catches. His size and catching radius created mismatches, and he quickly established himself as one of the league's most physically imposing receivers. But his physique soon became a problem. Even before entering the NFL, Benjamin had struggled with weight, and reports during the 2015 offseason revealed he arrived at workouts weighing 280 pounds, roughly 35 pounds over his listed weight. Public perception exploded. Photos and videos of him looking slower and heavier went viral, with jokes suggesting he was a Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end. Coach Ron Rivera admitted concern, noting Benjamin was a little heavy and linked the extra weight to his susceptibility to hamstring injuries. Additionally, injuries compounded the issue. A torn ACL wiped out his 2015 season, and although he returned in 2016, his mobility and explosiveness were noticeably affected. Benjamin finished that season with 941 yards and 7 touchdowns, but inconsistency and conditioning problems lingered. Midway through 2017, the Panthers traded him to the Buffalo Bills, where he struggled to stay healthy and productive. He finished the 2017 season with 692 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns, and the following year was released after posting just 354 yards and a single touchdown. Reports noted his effort and conditioning had declined, further cementing his struggles. Also, Benjamin's brief stint with the Kansas City Chiefs in 2018 offered no reprieve. He caught only 2 passes in 3 games and didn't appear in the playoffs. And a 2021 attempt with the New York Giants ended before training camp, leaving him out of the NFL permanently. Up next, we have a player whose declining physique and health derailed his NFL career. Albert Haynesworth. Albert Haynesworth entered the NFL as one of the most physically dominant defensive tackles in recent memory. A 6'6", 317-pound force from the University of Tennessee, he was a first-round pick by the Tennessee Titans in 2002. Scouts lauded his combination of size, strength, and athleticism. He ran a 4.82 40-yard dash, posted a 39-inch vertical jump, and could broad jump over 9 feet. Early in his career, Haynesworth quickly established himself as a top interior defender, earning 2 consecutive Pro Bowl and first-team All-Pro selections between 2007 and 2008. His strength and run-stopping ability made him a nightmare for opposing offenses. After the 2008 season, Haynesworth became a highly coveted free agent. The Washington Redskins signed him to a 7-year, $100 million contract, one of the largest deals for a defensive lineman at the time. Expectations were sky-high, but his tenure in Washington quickly soured. Haynesworth struggled with conditioning and failed the team's offseason programs, skipping mandatory mini-camps and resisting the physical demands expected of a player of his caliber. He was forced to pass a conditioning test before practicing and completed only 5 of 13 full practices during a 3-week training camp. Persistent health and effort issues limited him to just 20 games over 2 seasons, leading many to view the signing as one of the worst free agent acquisitions in NFL history. Haynesworth's declining physique was compounded by medical issues. During his career, he faced rhabdomyolysis, a condition causing rapid muscle breakdown linked to extreme workouts and dehydration. These episodes limited his ability to train effectively and contributed to inconsistent performance. Post-retirement, his physical decline became even more pronounced. By 2019, Haynesworth's kidneys had failed, a condition he partly attributes to the heavy use of painkillers like Toradol during his playing years. In 2021, he underwent a life-saving kidney transplant. Beyond his kidneys, injuries, Hainsworth suffered brain aneurysms in 2014 that nearly killed him and caused memory issues. Doctors warned him not to lift more than 25 pounds above his head, drastically reducing the strength training that once defined his career. On the other hand, we have a player whose declining physique would eventually draw public ridicule. Eddie Lacy. Eddie Lacy entered the NFL with a reputation as a powerful workhorse running back. Drafted in the second round of the 2013 NFL Draft by the Green Bay Packers, Lacy arrived from Alabama with 3 BCS national championship rings and a body built to dominate. At 231 pounds, he was agile, strong, and capable of bulldozing through defenders. Lacy's rookie season validated the hype. He rushed for 1,278 yards and 11 touchdowns, caught 257 receiving yards, earned Offensive Rookie of the Year honors, a Pro Bowl nod, and AP second-team All-Pro recognition. He became the first Packer since 1971 to win the Rookie of the Year award and set team rookie records for rushing yards and touchdowns. Over the next 2 seasons, Lacy maintained his 1,000-yard standard, finishing 2014 with 1,139 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, and 42 receptions for 427 yards. But cracks began to show. Injuries in 2015, including an ankle injury in Week 2 and a groin injury in November, limited his play, and missed curfews and team discipline issues further affected his consistency. His rushing totals dropped to 758 yards with just 3 touchdowns, a stark contrast to his early dominance. Lacy's physique began to mirror his career decline. Once a tightly muscled 231-pound back, his weight ballooned to 267 pounds by 2017. The change was visible on the field, affecting speed, agility, and endurance, and sparking public ridicule. Memes of his love for Chinese food went viral, and fans and media openly mocked his size. Lacy himself admitted the trolling was painful, but he remained committed to reshaping his body. His contract with the Seattle Seahawks included weight-related bonuses, $55,000 for hitting a target of 250 pounds, highlighting how seriously his size affected his career prospects. Despite working with trainers like Tony Horton, adopting stricter diet, boxing, yoga, and plyometric routines, Lacy never returned to his rookie form. The combination of injuries, weight fluctuations, and public scrutiny effectively ended his NFL career. Moving on, we have a player who would balloon to 400 pounds. Shaun Rogers. Shaun Rogers entered the NFL as a dominant force on the defensive line. Born in La Porte, Texas, Rogers excelled in high school as a two-way tackle and even saw time at running back near the goal line. His combination of size and athleticism earned him the nickname Chunks in the locker room. At the University of Texas, Rogers paired with nose tackle Casey Hampton and finished his college career with 199 tackles, 14 sacks, and 53 tackles for loss, earning AP Honorable Mention All Big 12 honors in 2000. His performance at Texas made him a second-round pick, 61st overall, by the Detroit Lions in the 2001 NFL Draft. Rogers quickly established himself as a force in Detroit. His rookie season featured 90 tackles, 3 sacks, and 4 pass deflections. By 2004, he was a Pro Bowl starter and AP second-team All-Pro, showcasing a rare combination of size, strength, and disruptive ability. However, the physical demands of his position, combined with lifestyle and health factors, eventually took a toll. As his career progressed, Rogers' weight became a growing concern. Standing 6'4", he reportedly ballooned to nearly 400 pounds at one point, far above the typical playing weight for his position. Even in later years with the New York Giants, he arrived at training camp weighing over 350 pounds, raising concerns about mobility, stamina, and overall health. Former teammates noted the extreme scale of his weight fluctuations, and Rogers himself admitted the challenge of maintaining his physique as he aged. In 2019, Rogers took decisive action to reclaim his health and fitness. He underwent gastric sleeve surgery, a major weight loss procedure, dramatically reducing his stomach size. The surgery allowed him to eat less, lose significant weight, and improve conditions like diabetes that had emerged during his playing career. Reports suggest he lost upwards of 250 pounds, transforming from the massive, out-of-shape defensive tackle of his final NFL seasons into a leaner, healthier individual. Next up, we have an NFL player who gained a lot of weight because of his fiancée. Karlos Williams. Karlos Williams entered the NFL with a lot of promise. A 5-star recruit out of Ridge Community High School in Davenport, Florida, he excelled in football, track, and basketball, clocking a 10.5-second 100-meter dash as a senior. At Florida State, Williams started as a safety, but quickly transitioned to running back, showing explosive speed and power. In 2013, his first carry as a running back went for a 65-yard touchdown, foreshadowing the big plays he would deliver. By 2014, he totaled 689 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns, establishing himself as a physical, versatile back with a keen ability near the goal line. Drafted in the 5th round, 105th overall, by the Buffalo Bills in 2015, Williams made an immediate impact. His first NFL carry was a 26-yard touchdown run, and in Week 3, he ran for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Miami Dolphins. Williams quickly tied an NFL record by scoring in 6 consecutive games to start his career, matching Robert Edwards. At 6'1" and roughly 230 pounds, he combined size, speed, and agility, making him a force out of the backfield. However, Williams' physique began to derail his career in 2016. In June, he reported to Buffalo's mandatory minicamp visibly overweight, reportedly gaining up to 261 pounds. Williams openly blamed his weight gain on his fiance's pregnancy cravings, joking that he ate whenever she did. The Bills restricted him to individual conditioning work, with coach Rex Ryan noting he was far from playing at a high level. Despite this, Williams committed to getting back in shape, adjusting his diet by cutting red meat, eating smaller meals, and avoiding late-night indulgences. He worked with the team's strength and conditioning staff to regain his fitness. Even with weight loss efforts, Williams's career struggled. He was released by Buffalo in August 2016 and faced multiple suspensions for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy. Up next, we have a player who became dangerously overweight. Nate Newton. Nate Newton entered professional football as a massive force in the trenches. After excelling at Florida A&M, where he earned all-MEAC honors at right tackle, Newton went undrafted in 1983, but eventually signed with the Washington Redskins. A serious car accident and being waived by Washington delayed his NFL start, but he found his footing in the USFL with the Tampa Bay Bandits, playing offensive tackle under Steve Spurrier in 1984 and 1985. Standing 6'2" and already larger than most of his peers, Newton's size earned him the nickname The Kitchen. When he joined the Dallas Cowboys in 1986, Newton became a cornerstone of the offensive line. He became a 6-time Pro Bowler from 1992 to 1996, and again in 1998, and was integral to the Cowboys' 3 Super Bowl victories in the 1990s. Despite his success on the field, weight remained a lingering challenge. At his peak, Newton's playing weight hovered around 325 pounds, but after retirement, he ballooned to over 400 pounds, medically qualifying as super obese. By 2010, Newton faced severe health risks, including diabetes, high blood pressure, sleep apnea, and arthritis. Walking was difficult, and he feared his weight could cost him his life before seeing his youngest son graduate. Motivated to reclaim his health, Newton underwent vertical gastrectomy surgery in April 2010, removing roughly 75% of his stomach. The surgery, combined with a high-protein diet and rigorous exercise, up to 5 hours a day, allowed him to shed over 175 pounds, reaching 220 pounds, the lightest he had weighed since high school. Newton described the transformation as life-changing, enabling him to move freely, exercise intensely, and regain energy he hadn't felt in years. On the other hand, we have a player whose physique declined due to alcohol and other off-field issues. LenDale White. LenDale White entered the NFL with a reputation as a bruising, powerful back. Born in Denver, Colorado, White dominated at South and Chatfield senior high schools, finishing as Colorado's career high school rushing leader with 7,804 yards and earning multiple All-State and All-American honors. At USC, he shared the backfield with Reggie Bush in the famed Thunder and Lightning duo, using his size and strength to lead the Trojans in rushing his first 2 seasons. White finished his college career with 3 3,159 yards, 52 rushing touchdowns, and standout performances in the 2005 Orange Bowl and 2006 Rose Bowl. Despite his production, White's NFL draft stock dropped due to conditioning concerns. At the Combine, scouts groaned at his bare chest, dubbing him Big Fat Lendale and Lenwale. He skipped most workouts due to hamstring concerns, performing only 15 reps on the bench press at 225 pounds, and entered the NFL underweight and out of shape compared to his college playing days. Selected 45th overall by the Tennessee Titans in 2006, White's rookie season was limited. He rushed for just 244 yards on 61 carries with no touchdowns. By 2007, he split carries early but exploded once given the lead role, finishing with 1,110 yards and 7 touchdowns. In 2008, sharing the backfield with Chris Johnson, White had career highs with 15 rushing touchdowns and an 80-yard long run, leading the AFC in scoring but showing signs of wear. White's physique began to fluctuate noticeably. Reports suggest he reached 265 pounds during his tenure with the Titans, a weight that impacted agility and drew public attention. Coaches and teammates noticed, and his conditioning became a focus. In 2009, motivated by a contract year and a desire to extend his career, White lost over 30 pounds, dropping to 229. He credited the weight loss to a stricter training regimen, giving up alcohol, and more disciplined habits. Teammates, staff, and even the owner recognized the transformation, noting a visibly faster, more athletic player. Despite the improvement, White's NFL trajectory declined. Traded to Seattle in 2010, he failed a drug test and was released before the season. He briefly signed with Denver, but tore his Achilles in preseason, ending his 2010 season and leading to his NFL release in 2011. Moving on, we have a player whose weight gain impacted his NFL career: Desmond Watson. Desmond Watson's size was apparent from the start. Born in Plant City, Florida, he was the smallest of 6 children at birth, but quickly grew into a giant. By Pee Wee football, he was already dominating his leagues, and in high school at Armwood, he stood 6'6" and weighed 375 pounds as a junior. Watson was unstoppable on the field, recording 65 tackles, 34 for loss, and 10 sacks that year, helping Armwood reach the state playoffs. By his senior season, he finished with 158 career tackles and 24 sacks, earning a 4-star recruit rating and offers from schools like Alabama, Florida State, and Michigan. He committed to Florida, aiming to turn his size into elite-level production. At Florida, Watson's size continued to grow. He entered his freshman season at 400 pounds and played in all 13 games as a reserve defensive tackle and on special teams, recording 7 tackles and half a sack. Over the next 3 seasons, his weight climbed to 464 pounds. Watson became a starter as a sophomore, totaling 25 tackles, but his performance never matched his physical potential. By the end of his college career, he had appeared in every game, finishing with 63 tackles and 1.5 sacks. His sheer size made him a viral sensation, but it was clear that conditioning and mobility were limiting factors. In 2025, Watson was signed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Placed on the non-football injury list due to weight and conditioning, he lost around 25 pounds and worked closely with nutritionists and trainers. Watson described the process as mentally challenging, running his own workouts while observing practices. By September, he earned a spot on the Buccaneers practice squad, contributing in practice while continuing to refine his conditioning and technique. Mentors like Pro Bowl defensive tackle Vita Vea helped guide him, emphasizing preparation and accountability. Still, Watson hadn't yet made it to an active roster, but he had transformed from a 464-pound college lineman to a 449-pound professional, actively improving his game. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section, and before you leave, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to NFL Rivals so you don't miss the next ones.